Tausch, what was your biggest positive before we get to calls?
𝙒𝙄𝙇𝘿 𝘼𝙀 I thought was my biggest positive, and the way this defense attacked. It was an offense that the O-line wasn't great. We knew that going into it. And Jeff Hafley didn't sit back and hope. I thought he was aggressive with stunts and some different things. And Seattle never got comfortable in that game. It always felt like it was chaotic. And 𝙒𝙄𝙇 𝘼𝙀 emerged last night as a dog. He was my dog. He was my Steinhoffler. He was my everything last night, and he delivered the goods.
He was my everything.
He was my biggest positive. Well, he was. He was fantastic.
I always thought old girl was your everything. All right. You kind of took my positive because you tend to do that to me. What I like about Jeff Hafley as compared to, say, previous defensive coordinators, he does different things when things aren't working, right? I thought he heated up Geno Smith and
he didn't.
I'm sorry.
If we're being honest, not in the Detroit game, he didn't. I mean,
they got a fourth down stop. They got a turnover. I mean, that's it. Have you seen what the Detroit offense has done this season?
I'm just trying to keep. I'm not trying to be so unfettered with all my optimism. I also want to be straight with y'all. And yes, it's easier to do. My point is, it's easier to execute all this stuff when you're not playing a good O-line. Those are just facts, too.
It's true.
So while I'm excited,
No
I thought Coop and Rashawn Gary and my guy Carl Brooks, all these guys made big impact plays.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't against the rock-solid group either.
Yeah, some could argue that there were two very good choices for the Steinhoffel Sleeper of the Week and one not-so-good one. Jesse, good work on Dontavion Wicks. He blocked very well.
Didn't have a drop last night, I don't think.
No, I don't think he did either, but Romeo Doubs also coming back and playing very well in his return after his concussion and wearing the Guardian cap. That was going to be my other positive, was that they got him back and he delivered in a way that some inconsistency in the wide receiver room has prevented it from happening. So I'm very curious to see where his game goes from here. They also got Jayden Reed more involved again, which I think is a good thing as well. Jesse, you got some low-hanging fruit for your positive?
Sure, Josh Jacobs running the football effectively. I mean, the first quarter was amazing. So that's why you pay him to come in the offseason and be the Packers running back. And that another win for Goody based on how he's performed down the stretch and running the football carries on the road in the postseason.
A lot of wins for Goody last night.
Tausch, do you recall ever doing that to start a game with Amon Green when you were blocking for him, of him touching the ball on 9 of the first 10 plays?
No.
I don't remember anything quite like that before.
I remember with Ron Dane.
That's what it reminded me of. I totally thought the same thing during the game. But I don't remember even Amon Green with his 355
Melvin Gordon,
carries.
JT 23. I mean, he is that impactful as far as what we're doing. And Amon in 20. I don't know if anybody will ever have a season. I boldly predicted that Josh Jacobs would. I don't think he's going to get there, but he's going to be a lot closer to what people thought.
Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to where he's at. But yes, that was a concerted effort to say, here's our horse, and let's see what you can do about it. And the Seahawks didn't have a ton of corral power last night.
They did not. All right, what's your negative?
Matt LaFleur's emotionality on challenges. It has been a problem. The thing that he's got to start understanding is the days of challenging things are almost over.
Correct.
Everything is being challenged already, and they don't even tell you. It's expedited. They're not going to overturn an expedition. It's just not going to be the case. So while you want stuff to work out and you're excited about it and you want to do it, at some point we have to just come to grips, man, and say he needs somebody down there. And Homer brought this up on the postgame show. You know how in the major leagues they get an old boy on the phone and they'll go like this? He'll kind of put his hand up and he'll wait, and then he'll go this, kind of spin your finger around and say, yep, challenge it, or wipe it. Nope. He needs someone to get him a hardwire phone and put it right in his ear So he has to think through it
The
and
very
not
long
just
cord.
fire that red flag up in the air and do it because timeouts, I know last night it ended up being a pretty comfortable we start the post-game show just a little bit early. It could have been more so, but when you do those things, you just have to get a grip on where you're at. And I thought Matt LaFleur butchered that again. His challenge record sucks.
0 for 6
Period.
this season.
He
0 for
stinks.
6 this season.
He needs to go. Someone has to get him a hardwired phone, and we got to get Pat Murphy or somebody to explain to him, hey, just do this, and then go. Because it doesn't make any sense, especially in this new expedited review process that the NFL has put in place.
I feel like you
don't have to do it.
You don't even need to have the flag most of the time. Very rarely should you be using it. If we're going to take
the NFL pass this, when did the NFL pass this?
Yeah,
Sky
you missed
Camp
it.
without telling anybody?
It's the Sky Judge was a smaller story, and you weren't able to follow it because they never actually passed any of this. They just started doing it.
That's beautiful. Sky Judge should have been in play a while ago. So
It should have. I would agree.
Sometimes dictatorial things you have to like push back on. I think this one I'm okay with. I'm okay with this one. It's a good move.
Yeah,
It's been good for the game.
I'm not going to comment on dictatorships today. What I will comment on is you think the time management on this show is bad. Check out the end of the first half.
Very, very, very frustrating.
Not even Mike McCarthy bungles the final minute of a half like that. Matt LaFleur owned it.
That. Mike,
Now, wait a minute.
Mike has done some really bad time management stuff.
He has, but this was...
You know, ironically, Jason, before you finish your point, Matt LaFleur is really good when he's on defense using timeouts. I think the way he maneuvers to get the ball back.
Agreed.
But he darn near Eberflused it last night. He almost pulled an Eberflus. Continue.
Luckily, it was at the end of the half and not at the end of the game. But, yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of. Caleb Williams standing out there, the clock running down. He's not calling a timeout. He's not stopping the clock. He's not getting the line and spiking it. Nothing. That was bad. And those are the types of things that if you want to be on the Debbie Downer side, you would say that's the kind of stuff that gets your blank beat in the postseason.
In big games. Big games against good teams, you can't do it. Exactly.
So, again, did they win convincingly? Absolutely. Did that end up costing them? No, it didn't. But that doesn't mean that it's okay for you to bungle that. And here's the thing that I like about him. He totally owns that stuff. Like, he got right up there and said, look, I should have called timeout. I should have given Jordan a play. He gave Jordan the free rein to make the call at the line of scrimmage. And once he saw that it wasn't going right, that's your job. Run up to the down judge and go, pop a timeout. It worked out thanks to a 34-yard pass interference penalty. They got another 39-yarder later in the game, so those were helpful to you. But the bottom line is you can't bungle the timing of the end of the half, and that's exactly what he did. Jesse, what's your negative so we can get to our calls?
Badger volleyball losing to Nebraska in 3 sets. They get swept by Nebraska all 3 matches they play this year.
Debbie Downer.
That was my negative. I thought the Seahawks...
I thought you never wanted to face a team 3 times.
Yeah, well,
Isn't that,
turns out.
unless you sweep them all 3 times, it's really not that big a deal. Is what it sounds like.
Sometimes facing a team 3 times doesn't really matter. And apparently,
How many matches would they have to play to beat the Cornhuskers for 1 set?
Not 9.
18?
I mean, they were competitive in 2 of the 3 sets yesterday. They were right there with them. So.
Okay. Well, in the Elite 8, competitive doesn't cut it. Don't confuse effort with results. And don't confuse Debbie Downers about the Packers with Mark Tauscher when he's talking about Tito's vodka, but he's saying, pour me in, coach.